ISIS fighters from Canada are returning home after the group's near defeat in Syria and Iraq. Now Canada's plan for managing them has received criticism from Canadian lawmakers and people across the country. Alex Mihailovich is following the story in Toronto tonight.
As of now, we know that about 60+ ISIS terrorists have returned to Canada. Another 190 Canadians are someplace in the world, mostly Iraq and Syria, fighting with terrorist organizations, including ISIS. Now, if this was the UK, these people would be losing their citizenship, so they could not return to Canada. But this is not the UK. Here, they have the right to return, which is ludicrous on many counts, and a lot of Canadians agree with that statement. You can believe me. And what is the RCMP saying, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police? Well, they're saying that terrorist investigations are amongst the most difficult. So once these guys get back here, our police forces can't do much about it. The supposed problem is to get evidence to support charges in a Canadian court. And the RCMP goes on to say, I quote, while they may have engaged in terrorism abroad and broken the law, not all returnees continue to pose a threat. They may now be disillusioned with the cause. So I can leave this country, commit a crime someplace else, come back and walk the streets just like anybody else. If I happen in this country, it'd be different. This is what's happening. This is what happened with a lot of people that came from the Balkans War as well. These are some war criminals walking the streets of Canada, and nobody could press charges against them because there's this lack of evidence. Now, not everybody's on board with this frame of thought. The Conservatives here in Canada are saying that, you know what? Welcoming these guys back with hugs is not the way to go. And what the RCMP actually does, it tries to flag them before they come into the country because they take away their passports and then they have to get them at some diplomatic post. That way they know they're returning to the country. Then they might question them a second time over at the airport or wherever they land in, coming back into Canada. And then they might even go to their homes and have a little bit of dialogue with them, talk about lots of hugs. A lot of people in the law enforcement here are saying that, you know what, this is not enough, that we should be looking at other options. And I think both you and I know what other options mean. It's not necessarily going to be something above board, but maybe these terrorists have to look out for their backs. We never know. It wouldn't be the first time law enforcement took matter into their own hands, especially when the public is at risk, and especially when you have terrorists walking the streets of this country. I'm Alex Mihailovich for News with Ed Schultz.